be me and her forever. I'll never get rid of her. My name's Bex. I'm mixed English with Jamaican, and I'm here to talk to you about my experiences. I think the struggles I face being mixed race kind of comes down to the whole quest you're on. It's my identity. Like, how do I identify what represents me in the world? Where do I fit in the world? And I think it's kind of self-worth, self-belief, ideas about where to push yourself and who you truly are all questions that are thrown up when you're mixed race in a society that doesn't have a category for it. I think there is a certain pressure from society to try and make you feel like you need to be either black or white. But I personally think that there is a solid category for mixed race people, because if there's any one person who's mixed race that doesn't wholly identify with one half over the other, there needs to be that subcategory. And if you've got influences from two different cultures, then that has a box on its own. For the mixed race identity, I think it's more in your head. It's more about how you feel, because people always look at you and assume that you're from somewhere, and that's not what bothers you. It's about how you relate to those people, how they think about you. It's the mentality behind it. I would say that I resonate more with my black side, but I'm not sure if that's an idealist view or a reality, because some people, particularly when I'm angry, say that I'm very black in my ways, but I know that I was raised in white England by white people. It could be quite difficult at times because my family are all white and I'm not. So I experience things like the dryness of the skin, and obviously I've got a different hair texture. My food preferences are a little bit different to my family. I'm not sure if that's just me or if it's a racial thing. But yeah, it could be quite complicated to get what I actually needed from the white areas that I lived in. I do feel a bit shunned out of whiteness because of my pigmentation. It's evident that I'm not white, and based on that people assume I'm not British. They ask me where I'm from, and when I say from here, they're like, but where originally? And that question always throws me a bit, because in this day and age, people that aren't indigenous to countries or don't look indigenous are born there all the time, and to me that makes them a member of that country. If they say they're from there, you don't ask any more questions. If somebody was to describe someone as being black and somebody was to describe someone else as being white, I don't think that pertains to the colour of their skin. You're using those words to collectively describe mannerisms and ways of being. So if you were to describe someone as being black, often that comes with speaking in slang, not in proper terms. You probably wouldn't think they were rich. You probably would see them dressed in tracksuits or other kind of street clothing. I think it's used to describe like a street mentality that has now been adopted as blackness in my society. And that's not fair. You can get a black person that you would call white because he's in a business suit speaking with proper English. You'd say he was acting like a white man, and I've seen that happen before. If you're with people that are exemplifying that traditional blackness, that bullshit attitude, that pushy sense of self, there's a different criteria for men and women within that. So the men need to be powerful, they kind of need to be cold and uncaring, they need to be dominant alpha males that don't take no shit, that hold their own, that probably do a bit of this and a bit of that on the dark side of the law. If you're a woman, there's kind of a beauty standard around a black woman. Some people don't think black women are very beautiful at all, and I think that's terrible. But I think it's equally terrible to expect black women to be having weave and detracting from their natural hair and dressing in certain ways, acting with all that sass and that big black mama attitude. Like, it's hard. I can say I felt othered in my life in terms of not belonging. But again, I don't know if that could be partially self-instated. Once you recognise that you're different from most of the people that you live around, it's hard to feel as integrated as you might want to. But also, as aforementioned, I have been bullied because of my race, and I've had that called up quite a lot by people outside of myself with nicknames such as Big Black Becky and Chewbacca, and questions about the different types of hair on my body and sizes of certain parts of my anatomy. I do not feel like my white family understand my identity at all. I don't have the best relationship with my family. So taking that as a basis, it can be difficult to communicate with them anyway. However, explaining the differences that I experience based on race to people that have never experienced them and are your blood is difficult, particularly when I'm the youngest. Age comes into play. They all think they know better than me because they're older. They all say that I'm silly and I don't experience those kind of issues. But who are they to say that? I'm experiencing them. My contact with my black family is very limited. So I met my dad first time when I was 16. I think I've only met him twice in my adult life. And that's part of the reason I don't really have much of a black identity. It's there. The way that I act sometimes is undeniably black, apparently. and the things that I do, I feel my culture and my heritage in me. I just don't know how to quite express it and live it in a way that's respectful and proper. I definitely feel like anybody living without one half of their mixture is missing out on a massive part of their identity, is half of who you are, and there are going to be things about you that correlate to both halves of that. So I've got more of my dad's hair, but my mannerisms and behaviour come more from my family. There are certain things about me, like my tastes are more Caribbean, I would say, but some of my music tastes categorically aren't. Some of the things that I do, the ways I walk, the way I carry myself, is from a white family. Other attributes aren't. So yeah, I missed out. I want to know about patois. I want to know about good food. I want to know about what Jamaica's like and what my people are like as much as I know my people here.